Sacramento Metropolitan Cable Television Commission. This closed caption meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Cable Television Commission is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T Uverse. This meeting is also webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv and will be repeated Saturday, March 7th at noon on Metro Cable 14. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should fill out a speaker identification form located at the podium and hand it to the clerk. With that, Karen, can we do the roll call?
Walter?
Here.
Carr?
Here.
Detrick?
Here.
Gonzalez?
Here.
Hanson? Morin?
Here.
Natoli? Schmidt? Chenier? Nava?
Here.
Frost?
Here.
We have a quorum, sir.
Great. Commissioner Nava, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we have a few new faces down here on the dais. I think starting on my left, Sacramento City Council member Larry Carr, representing District 8.
Hello.
To my right, actually, are you the mayor now?
Yes.
Mayor Sue Frost of the City of Citrus Heights, who is the alternate for Mel Turner. And Isaac Gonzalez to her right, who is alternate for the new Sacramento County Supervisor Patrick Kennedy. Thanks. Hello. All right.
Welcome.
So I guess we're ready to go. Item 1.
Item number 1 is conference with legal counsel on anticipated litigation.
All right. So are we going to...
we can convene back there, I think.
Okay. Perfect. The board will adjourn to a closed session now. Reconvening the regular meeting out of closed session. Legal counsel, do we have anything that we need to report out of closed session?
We have no reportable action.
Okay. Please call the next item.
Item number 2 is the partial offset of unpaid franchise and PEG fees against Comcast security deposit.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Bob Davison, your executive director. The last audit of Comcast showed that they owed $308,000 in franchise fees and PEG fees and $26,000 in late charges. This was due to 2 items, not paying, including PEG fees that were passed through to their customers in their gross revenues, and also due to deducting from their franchise fees the amounts of fees that they paid to the California Public Utilities Commission. The Commission and Comcast have exchanged letters, which are attached to your staff report today. And actually, the newest letter from Comcast came out since the agenda was sent out, and so that has been delivered to you today as well. And it's available for anybody in the audience who would like a copy. Basically, the Commission's position is that they owe this money and they should pay the correct amount, and also the amounts going forward. Comcast does not agree and has done and plans to continue to deduct the CPUC fees from gross revenues and not to pay the franchise fees on the PEG fees. The Commission has held a security deposit from the initial franchise, which was there to ensure compliance with the franchise. At one time, this goes back to the 1980s, but the amount of that deposit was originally $250,000. The franchise ordinance allowed it to go down at a certain point in time to $100,000. And that amount actually has stayed with the Commission since that time and has accrued interest, and the current amount of that security deposit is about $216,000. While there is, so what we're suggesting is rather than give the security deposit back to Comcast, because now they're on a state franchise, and so there's no longer a local franchise, which the security deposit was related to. We are suggesting that the Commission offset the deposit against the prior under collection and then direct staff to transfer the security deposit into the Commission general fund. And I can certainly, or Harriet Steiner, your attorney, can answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions at this time from any commissioners? Okay, I have one request to speak on the item from Philip Arndt from Comcast.
Good afternoon, Philip Arndt, Government Affairs Director, Comcast, and I also have Leanne Peeling, who is Government Affairs Director with Comcast and handles franchise issues. I wanted to just address a couple things. The first is the franchise fee and the PEG fee issue, which has gone back for a couple years. It's a bit complicated to explain, but basically, state franchise dictates lists a number of categories that are included in gross revenues that are subject to franchise fees. Comcast maintains, and it's not just Comcast, but it's other cable operators in California and in every other jurisdiction, that PEG fees are not included as franchise fees. Again, this isn't unique to the communities in the Sacramento Cable Commission, but it's the same throughout California, and we are not aware of any other franchise in California that has questioned PEG fees being included in gross revenues. And so that issue, of course, has been going back for several years, and Comcast remains firm in its position. The second thing is the security deposit that was under the local franchise and should have been returned to Comcast once the cities in the county and the cable consortium went from a local to a state franchise. So that security deposit should be returned back to Comcast. Now it's going to be used to offset alleged franchise fee and PEG fee discrepancies. To vote today to use this security deposit that should not be in the hands of the commission would only exacerbate this issue that's been going on for a couple years. And so Comcast is here today to urge that the commission not use the security deposit as a means to recover alleged franchise fees. Thank you.
Any questions from fellow commissioners?
Yes. Were the PEG fees always treated as such?
No, the PEG fees have not been treated as revenue under the state franchise. Are you asking going back to local franchise? I believe, I don't know the local franchise as well. I'm not even sure if there was a PEG fee that was collected under the local franchise. The 1% PEG fee is something that came out of state franchise. It was something that was negotiated in 2006 with the state legislature. In previous, going back to local franchises, it was something that was negotiated one-on-one, so sometimes there'd be a 20%, I'm sorry, not 20%, but 20-cent PEG fee. It might be 40 cents. It was different amounts. Again, I'm not too sure what in Sacramento and the Cable Commission was there, but it's never been, under state franchise, been considered to be a revenue.
I could speak to that. Under the local franchise, we collected franchise fees, but we did not collect a PEG fee. When all of our local franchises opted out into state franchises, DIVCA did authorize a PEG fee, and then our commission basically recommended the implementation of the 1% PEG fee. That was taken to all the member agencies, and then all the member agencies adopted amendments to the ordinance to implement that PEG fee. I believe the PEG fee was implemented, Karen could probably correct me, but in the 2009 timeframe.
First 2009.
Yeah, May of 2009.
So we have an issue that's been going on for some time. How would you propose that we resolve this? That the Cable Commission just walk away and say, well, we agree with you, or how would you like to see us proceed?
Well, I mean, I think the issue at hand today, or the question at hand today, is to use a a security deposit that should not even be in the hands of the commission. It should have been returned to Comcast as a means to deduct. So that's one way I would see, is to not use the security deposit. Going back to the larger issue, I mean, this Comcast is firm and very confident in its position that that PEG fees are not included as part of revenue. So I suppose from Comcast standpoint, it would be to drop the issue, I guess, and come to an understanding that in fact the intent of the legislature and the language in what we call DIVCA, which is the state franchise, spells out clearly that PEG fees are not included as revenue for purposes of franchise fee calculations.
But didn't Comcast include PEG fees in revenue for the first few years of the state franchise and remit franchise fees to the commission here, assuming that for the first several years?
Did we include, I mean, we have passed through PEG fees for many years.
No, what I mean is for the first few years of the state franchise, wasn't Comcast including the PEG fee as part of gross revenue for calculating the franchise fee?
Not that I'm aware of, unless.
No, I believe that they were including the CPUC fee. That's
Okay.
the second.
Oh, yeah, there's the other issue with the
Okay.
As
CPUC
opposed
user
to the
fee,
PEG.
As
right?
opposed to the PEG fee.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Any further questions?
I'll just, thanks, Ted. You know, just to share a comment, I'm not sure where I really sit precisely on this issue. It'd be interesting just to have a philosophical discussion on, not so much what's been done in the past and what's being done now and what we're considering, but when this was enacted after the passage of DIVCA, I remember instituting this 1% PEG fee, and this discussion never came up, in my recollection, as far as how this would be treated, and I think it's worthy of some discussion. And I know that's not before us today, but it is relatively complex, but. Especially given the fact that we've got some newer board members, as to really drill down a little bit as to where we are today and exactly how we want to proceed. Really looking outside the law, what is our policy on this board on this issue?
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you. I want to thank council and staff for bringing us up to speed on this issue, and especially since obviously it's my first meeting, so I wasn't too much aware of it before the board packet. And thank you to Comcast for coming out to explain their stance on the issue. And since I don't have as much information as I'd like about this, I just want to ask Comcast if they had any discussion with the Cable Commission prior to deciding to hold back the fee, or did you just deduct that amount in the payments for 2011, 2012?
Are you talking about the CPUC user fee? Because that's another one. That's a fee that is dictated by the PUC, which if we were to include that and not deduct it, that's the smaller amount. I think that's the $59,000, and the larger amount is the franchise fee revenue. I'm sorry, the PEG. The PEG pass-through. So are you referring to the CPUC?
I'm sorry, the PEG pass-through, when you guys decided that the 5% didn't
would not be
yeah.
Would not the 1% PEG fee that's charged would not be included as revenue.
Yeah.
Did we have a discussion? Yeah. No, we did not have a discussion because I can't say we didn't have a discussion. I'm not too sure. Just because again throughout the Comcast footprint, which there's hundreds of franchises in Northern California. Not only ours, but then the other cable providers, this issue was never one because Comcast, it's in our opinion, it clearly states that PEG fees are not included as revenue. So I think we wouldn't have had the discussion because it wasn't anything that we feel that we would have to have a discussion about.
And so that's why the commission only made this assumption after the finding of its audit.
That's, well, I would assume that's what the the
Correct.
commission. I wouldn't want to speak for the commission staff, but
Yes, for the PEG fee issue, we were not aware of that issue until we did the audit, and it was a finding in our audit. The CPUC issue, I believe Comcast notified us before, and we knew actually going up and down California that that was happening in other jurisdictions.
Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Detrick?
Yeah, I got a question for Harriet. So Harriet, you've heard Philip give Comcast's position on their interpretation that the PEG fee is excluded and the PUC fee is excluded. What is your take on that?
Right, it's the opinion of my office that, as to the CPUC fee, that the CPUC fee, both when it was adopted and now, was not intended to be deducted from the franchise fee. I know that this has been at issue up and down the state, but in going back and looking at the adoption by the PUC of their user charge, we believe it was clear that it was not supposed to be deducted from the franchise fee, and it's properly not deducted from the franchise fee. As to the PEG fee, we were working off of the audit, and I would say that we believe that including the PEG fee is well-founded, but I do not believe that the law is 100% clear on that issue.
Does it address it in DFCA at all, or was DFCA written before that, so it was never addressed?
DFCA defined gross revenues for the purpose of the franchise, and DFCA established the ability to charge the PEG fee at 1% of gross revenues. Prior to DFCA, most jurisdictions, but not Sacramento, charged PEG fees that were a per subscriber amount of money, per month. So, as opposed to a percentage amount of money. And my understanding there was that generally those were included in gross revenues. So I don't know that there's, to the best of my knowledge, there has not been any court that has addressed this specific issue.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions?
Yeah, I just would note one other thing. The security deposit that we're talking about, which came out of the local franchise in the past, was specifically for the purpose of dealing with franchise compliance. So it was initially made under your local franchise specifically for this same type of purpose that we are recommending it be used for today.
All right. All right, well, thank you.
thank you.
All right, any conversation among commissioners?
Well, I'll move the recommendation, but with a very clear understanding that I know we're not going to, this isn't the end of the story, so to speak, but I think just to kind of move to some sort of a future determination, and I appreciate, Phil coming out on behalf of Comcast and stuff to share their opinions, but, just for the sake of, getting this pushed in a direction where we can find some resolution, I'll move the recommendation.
And I'll second.
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 I have one comment.
Yes.
That it appears to me to be a little bit of self-remedy on Comcast as well as the commission.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a double-edged sword here, and I kind of have a similar agreement to my colleague here that there's a gray area involved in this, but I'll go ahead and support the decision as well.
And I would echo Commissioner Detrick's comments on that. So with all that, let's vote.
Chair Detrick, can you vote, please?
Mine's voted.
Okay, Mr. Gonzalez? Okay, motion passes.
All right.
So it's not up on the screen.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out the,
Okay, so
So has
I need to
Commissioner Schmidt-
enable voting again.
I thought I hit yes. Oh, I hate technology.
This is still a relatively new voting system for us.
It was voting yes.
Do you want to do a revote?
Is that good enough?
Okay. Okay, it's
Revoting
ready for
again? There it
revoting,
is.
yes.
Okay.
Just from a procedure standpoint on the voting, is there an issue if you hit the vote before it's been called for?
This is probably the fourth time I've used this, and
Okay.
so,
No, that's the only
All right.
reason I'm asking is because I think several people hit it before
right, I see.
you called for the vote,
Okay.
and then that's why they
Okay.
weren't coming up.
So
is
I would
my
have
guess.
to enable first, and then you guys push your buttons, and then now I close and display voting, correct?
So vote now.
Okay.
There it doesn't look like everybody
While
did
that was
it, so-
going on, I wasn't
happened
was
to my
listening
vote?
and not voting.
We can do a voice vote if that will move things along quicker, or do one more try.
Let's do one more
Let's
try.
do one more
Let's get this
try.
right. Come on, we can do
Okay.
this.
Okay. I cleared and canceled. Now I'm
Okay.
going to enable voting.
Okay.
Please press your
All
buttons.
members, please vote.
Okay. Yay! Close and display.
There we go.
There we go.
Wait, oh no.
You changed it before I could press that.
No! Oh, no. One more time?
One more?
Okay. Clear and canceled. Enabled voting. Please proceed.
Does everyone?
Howard?
Does everyone hit?
We're doing it again?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I have it all checked off on my screen, so I'm gonna
Okay.
close and display, okay?
Okay.
There we go.
Thank you.
It's unanimous. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Next item, please.
Item number 3 is the AT&T Uverse Custom PEG Channel update.
Good afternoon. I have an update for you on the custom channel, the Sacramento channels. As you're aware, there was litigation between AT&T and the commission, and ultimately that litigation was settled. One of the benefits that came out of that settlement was that the 7 PEG channels for Sacramento were to be put on a custom channel, and that custom channel is actually located on channel 14 on AT&T's Uverse. So prior to the litigation, in order to find channel 14 or the other 6 PEG channels, you had to go to channel 99. You had to go through many menus. You had to know what jurisdiction you were looking for. Ultimately, you would find the PEG channels, and you were able to select them, and then you could watch the programming. Since with the settlement of the lawsuit, now on channel 14, there is a custom channel. I believe that custom channel was implemented last June. However, we actually couldn't monitor that channel because none of us had Uverse, and there wasn't any ability to get it in the commission offices. Since then, in your budget last year, you did put in some budgetary amounts so that we could put some equipment in the county DTEC building, which is right over there on G Street, where the Cable Commission's offices are located. And since that budgetary allocation, Karen Liu has been working with AT&T staff to basically allow us to have Uverse at the commission offices so that we can monitor it. They've worked that out. We can now monitor the Uverse, and it's already paying dividends. Karen, the staff last week noticed there was some pixelation and there was an outage issue. In the past, it would have taken us until somebody complained about it to ultimately get to us and then work with AT&T and in some cases Comcast to resolve. So this issue was resolved in well less than a day before they dragged on for several days. So that's one real benefit. Also, too, is I kind of wanted to bring a demonstration of what the custom channel looked like. Some of you may have Uverse or have seen Uverse, and others of you may not have. So. We actually couldn't bring Karen's TV and string a cable across the street, but we have prepared just a short video that kind of shows you what the custom channel experience looks like. So basically, if you have a AT&T Uverse remote and you're on another channel, either if you're just flipping up and down the channels and you got to 14, or if you're on another channel and you press the 1 and the 4, then this kind of replicates what that experience would look like. So without further ado, I'll play this demonstration video. Let's see. So this is using AT&T Uverse to access the Sacramento community channels from any other channel. So apparently we're watching Ellen, and if you didn't like Ellen and you wanted to go back to the commission or one of the other PEG channels, and you just press 1 and 4 on the remote, press enter, and then you would go to channel 14 where the custom channel screen would come up. Now, the instructions say to press OK to start the Sacramento community channels. After pressing OK, this screen would come up. All the 7 Sacramento PEG channels are on there, and as you scroll up and down, you can see there's a little screen that shows you what's on that channel at that time. So just bear with us. We're going to go through all of the channels before we make our decision on what we want to watch. So this would be somebody's experience if they finally got to the custom channels, they weren't sure what they wanted to watch, they can go up and down this menu to decide what they're going to watch. We decided not to have the sound playing, so it wasn't too distracting. So now we're going to show you what happens when you finally make your suggestion. Maybe we're considering selecting KVIE, but ultimately I think maybe the person with the remote would want to choose Metro Cable. So if you then switch it down to Metro Cable and then select it, you can select the full screen, and now essentially you'll be watching Metro Cable. This happens to be the election forums, which just happened to be on the day that we were recording this demo. And so with that, that essentially shows you, what the experience is like. I'm pretty pleased. It comes a long way from where we were, from being hidden on channel 99 to basically being on channel 14 and having the Sacramento channels have that much exposure. I think is a great thing. It's not 100% perfect. You can't DVR it, and the channel guide are still things that are an issue. The agreement with AT&T is, as their technology improves, if they have the ability to do those things, maybe ultimately we'll be able to add that functionality as well. If you recall, one of the initial issues was whether you can have closed captioning work with UVerse on channel 99 and now on the custom channel, and that is an issue that originally didn't work but now has been solved, and the captioning works. So with that, I just felt it would be good to basically show you what the custom channel experience looks like, since we got that from the settlement of the lawsuit. And if you certainly I can answer any questions that you might have.
Yes. The problem that you mentioned, was that with the equipment in your office, or was that a transmission or equipment with the cable company?
So the way that AT&T is implementing their Project UVerse is AT&T obviously has been around for a while, and they have certainly copper wiring throughout the areas and such. But when they decided that they wanted to implement their video product, they had to go into and I'm not really 100% up on the technology, but basically they have to go into the neighborhoods, they have to put some fiber down, they have to install some vaults. So there's various things that they have to install to basically allow their Project UVerse to work. With the Cable Commission offices, we wanted to be able to monitor it. The first response from AT&T was, they didn't have service to that building, and so our question was, well, what would it take, to get it so that we could view in one of our locations, either here or in that building. We worked with AT&T. They came up with an estimate. Budgetarily, it was not that significant of an amount.
I was just interested that the problem was in your office, or was it a transmission problem at AT&T?
The problem was that in order for the AT&T's product to be installed anywhere, they need to do a certain amount of installation, and in the case of the OSIT building, they needed to install what's called a VRAD. Basically, AT&T UVerse will not work unless certain equipment is installed in the neighborhood that we're talking about, or in this case, in the, I said OSIT, I meant the DTEC building. Excuse me for that. Oh,
Commissioner Gonzalez?
I think I might have misunderstood the question. So are you talking about the pixelization issue that we noticed? That turned out to be a system issue, not just an issue at the building. And so they fixed it relatively quickly.
Okay. So they depend on Karen to tell them if the system is down?
So what was happening was their system would be moving, and they don't monitor whether or not our channels on Channel 99 nor on the custom channel now are accurately working. And so we were reliant on people that we knew who happened to have UVerse or KVIE, which was monitoring for us at a certain point. To see, or people who called into the Cable Commission to say, I tried to get on channel, through Channel 99 or the custom channel to Metro 14, and it was not working. And so, so we were having a lot of trouble figuring out when it went out, and so there was a lot of time delay. So our channels on the AT&T system were out for a long time. So that's why we went through all of this to get a place where we could actually monitor it. And since then, when Karen does see an outage of some sort, or we get a customer complaint, we call AT&T faster. But without that, we just, because AT&T is not monitoring what's going out over their signal in Sacramento, we had no other way of knowing when there was an outage or when there was not.
Wow.
Okay. Commissioner Gonzalez?
Thank you. As a AT&T UVerse customer, the improvement is much noticed in my household, as I am a regular watcher of Cable Metro 14 and Access Sacramento. I do want to say that I want to mirror your comments as far as it still being probably less than what we hope to obtain one day as bandwidth comes online. The DVR feature would be very nice, specifically with City Council and other governmental bodies television programming, to allow viewers to watch it at a time that's convenient for them. In the interim, if they want to consider maybe putting some of the more pertinent programming, such as City Council meetings and supervisor meetings, maybe in the on-demand section. I understand their bandwidth is very valuable to them, and they wouldn't be maybe willing to do that for the ongoing term, but maybe as a supplemental stopgap in between, then it might be something you might want to consider. And I do just want to comment, I do know that in the past it had been out for a long time when it was Channel 99, and I think it was Ron Cooper who once told me that a van had actually hit a box and maybe knocked it out for a long time, and they were unaware of it. So to know that we won't be having outages of multiple days in a row is very reassuring to me. So thank you very much.
Sure, and just to point out, it's nice, you might get calls from us if we're looking at UVerse, so it's nice to know another person that has it, so we can certainly keep up on this. As far as the van hitting something, it's my understanding there could still be a local outage. If their vault gets hit by a truck or something, then that could create a local outage that still would be on at the commission office. But it's all good information, so if we got a complaint and the commission office shows that it's running here, then we know it's not a system issue. And then we can certainly tell AT&T where the location is of that complaint, and then they can check it out.
My wife requests that you call me before 8 p.m. because my daughter goes to sleep early. So if you're going to call me when I'm watching Sacramento, by all means, just do it before 8.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, next item, please.
Next item is the CEVA Lab PEG funding modification request for spring 2015, submitted by SCCC.
Okay, thank you. As you know, we had 2 CEVA labs in the budget, the PEG fee budget this year. We've been talking a lot about the PEG fees. CEVA labs are basically studios that are in schools. Karen and I actually toured one at Fern Bacon School, and it was really amazing. We actually got to come into the class and see the students working on their video production. They actually interviewed me. I wasn't the best interview, but I did an interview with green screen and such, and We also got to watch the kids make their daily video that they show to their school. So it was quite impressive. As you know, there was 2 SIVA labs in this year's budget. SECC came in with a proposal that we brought to you earlier this year where rather than with the first half of the revenue that came in, rather than just funding one lab, they were working with other schools and other sources, and they wanted to leverage the commission's funding sources so that they can actually provide more SIVA labs. So to make a long story short, with the commission's money that was going to pay for one lab, they were able to get other funding, and they were able to implement labs at Andrew Carnegie Middle School, Winston Churchill Middle School, Del Paso Manor Elementary School, and Sylvan Middle School in the San Juan Unified School District. It's my understanding that those labs are up and running, or at least close to that. So now the second SIVA lab that was to be funded in this year's budget, SECC has requested that rather than doing the one lab, that they use the money to leverage with other sources so that they can fund labs at McCaffrey Middle School, Toby Johnson Middle School, Limbach Elementary School, and North Country Elementary Schools. And certainly I believe that this is a great utilization of commission funds, leveraging them with other sources so that we can do more good in the community. And with that, I recommend that your board to approve today's action.
Okay. Any questions for staff?
Yes. How are you selecting those schools?
So the Cable Commission does not select those schools. Those come as budget requests from the Sacramento Education Cable Consortium, and I believe maybe Liz Rhodes, who's in the audience, can speak to that if you would like.
Yes.
Well, Liz is,
sorry, and Liz is signed up as a speaker for the item as well, so.
Okay.
Good afternoon. I'm Liz Rhodes, Executive Director of the Sacramento Educational Cable Consortium. The way that we select the schools is we ask which schools out there have existing programs or want to build a program. And up to this point, it's been a first come, first served based upon the district's interest and the school's interest, and do they have funding and are they committed to the project. That's what we like about the project, is that it does leverage the money. There is buy-in, skin in the game, if you will, from the district as well as the school site. And so you'll notice that on the proposal for these 4 schools that we've put in and for today. Since then, we've got right now about 8 schools that are requesting funding for next year. So that's an issue that we'll be talking to you about at your budgeting for next year.
Okay.
Any other questions for staff?
well, I just have this down on my agenda as a receive and file. Is there, do we need to?
And that's fine. I should have said I recommend that you receive and file this item. In a sense, we've already taken action. What your board didn't know is exactly what was going to happen with the second half of the revenue and which schools were going to be get the labs. And since we have that information now, we brought this item back. And I believe when we brought the last item to your board, we told you that we would be coming back to your board with that information at a meeting later on this year. So.
Okay. And I know Liz has actual comments, testimony, so.
There's just one thing that I want to share, since you all have not been able to go out to see these sites, and you're all invited to go visit them. I think that you'll have an absolutely amazing experience. I do have a video for you from one of the sites that's up and running that you funded with that first portion of the money. So if we could just roll that tape from Carnegie.
And I'm Heath. Have you been in any...
So we start off every day with a live morning news broadcast, and so it's a student-run program.
The new and improved media class, SECC granted us with a TriCaster, and it changed our whole broadcast by itself, single-handedly.
If you get the honors lunch, you will receive...
I always loved watching the Carnegie Connection, and I knew ever since the first day of school when I saw it, I was like, wow, I would love to be a part of that. It used to brighten my day in the mornings. I used to love seeing students on TV talking about what's going on around the school. And I think it's a positive thing that affects the school in a really positive way.
Now back to the anchors.
My homeroom class is also my fourth period class, so in fourth period they come to me. We create public service announcements and character-based commercials to play on our morning announcements.
That actually looks cool.
The district was also able to fund us for some additional computers, which enabled our students to move forward from iMovie, which is really kind of a beginning basic movie editing program, up to Final Cut Pro, a professional level of movie editing.
You can like reverse stuff and you can like add stuff. It's awesome. Yeah, I agree right there too.
The new equipment has really allowed our students to really transition, as the school is doing, to Common Core, and the kids are having to critically think every day about how do I problem solve, how do I get this shot. It's so many different things all brought together into a package that I think the kids can really buy into.
Any kid out there that has a media or media-related program at their school, join it.
A huge thanks, because without continued support of the Cable Commission and of the district, we wouldn't be able to offer programs like this that I think really impact students and their peers.
Thank you, Cable Commission.
So thank you very, very much. You can see it makes a huge difference to these students, and the program is growing fantastically. So we appreciate your support.
Commissioner Gonzalez is first on my list.
I just want to say that that's really awesome to see those young people do that. I've had the pleasure for the last 4 years to be a consultant for the California Endowment, working in youth media and partnering with Access Sacramento. And I know firsthand that the experience of teaching a young person how to tell their own story and capture it through video equipment is much more than just technical experience. It actually allows them to use their mind and express themselves in a way that they always don't get to in school. So it's really amazing to see this going on. Myself, when I was in public school, one of the most powerful experiences I had was when I was at a school that's now called Rosa Parks in District 8, and I had Mr. Fernandez's video production class, and we had shoulder boulder full-size VHF cameras at the time, and it was a remarkable television production program, and I know it makes a lot of impact on young people. I would, however, encourage you in the future, when possible, to not only find schools or sites that can leverage existing funds, but to also find schools that don't have the funds, because sometimes those kids and those agencies that don't have money are the ones that need this kind of program most of all. But thank you very much.
Well noted.
Commissioner Carr.
Well said. Well said. Where can I get a copy of this video? Do you have it on your website, or?
I just happen to have an extra copy that I'd be happy to give to you, okay, after the meeting today.
And could I get a copy, too, of the information that you sent to the schools, so that I can make sure that all the principals have seen it?
In terms of, yeah, and that
request letter.
Yeah, that goes through our board, so I'll have to go back to, to them to find out how they disseminated it into each of the districts.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further. Next item, please.
Item number 5 is the election of a vice chair for the remainder of fiscal year 2014-15.
Okay. And I'll just put that to the current chair.
Well, I think we had Commissioner Warren, Councilmember Warren, was the vice chair until when the city, I think, made some changes for
correct
regular members.
The vice chair was Alan Warren, and he's no longer on the board, and so certainly it requires that we elect a new vice chair. And just so everybody understands that this is a typical process that happens at the June budget meeting. One of the last items of that meeting is that we do an election of the chair and the vice chair. So essentially this position will be electing a vice chair for the rest of today, and then for the next meeting until the chair and the vice chair are elected at the next meeting.
I'll just put it out there, I'm happy to stay on as chair for another year, so the vice chair doesn't have to worry about then taking on the chairmanship next year. So are there any volunteers for vice chair? Because I can't volunteer for vice chairmanship.
I would volunteer.
I nominate Andy.
Actually, I'll respectfully decline. Thanks, Steve. But I did have my moment in the sun here for a number of years back in 2011, 2010. So I'm happy to see somebody else ride Ted's coattails into future chairmanship. So did we have a volunteer? Did
it for you?
I'm notorious for signing up for extra jobs. So yes, I would love to volunteer.
Well, then I'll place Commissioner Gonzalez's name in a nomination. Are there any other? Okay. Well, I'll make the motion.
Second.
All right, let's do this right. Everyone vote, please, correctly.
Okay, voting was right, enabled. Everybody's voted, so I'm going to close and display voting.
We got it right.
Motion
All
passes.
right, we did it right.
Good.
Congratulations.
Okay. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
First meeting in your...
Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, I've got something else now. Next item, please.
Item number 6 is a general administration report.
Okay, good afternoon again. The first item I have for you is I'm really pleased. There's been a lot of movement at Metro Cable lately. As you know, after Donna Wellborn, the longtime production director, retired, we filled her position with Kristen Riggs, and I believe we introduced her to you at that last meeting. With Kristen's promotion, that left a vacancy for the program coordinator position. And so with that, we went through a process, and ultimately we offered a position, and it was accepted by Tyler Kinney. And Tyler Kinney, well, Tyler, why don't you come on up to the podium? So I'll introduce you to Tyler. He comes, his last experience was with KOVR 13 CBS. And his experiences in studio production and broadcast operations. He also has a lot of experience in closed captioning, which will be a help to us because that's a significant part of the Metro 14 broadcast. So with that, I certainly would like to welcome Tyler on board.
Thank you.
And you don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but you may if you would like.
I'm just very glad to be here. I'm excited about the work you guys do, and it's a great public channel.
All right.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Tyler. Already, he hasn't been with us that long, but he's already paying dividends, so we're really happy to have him aboard. So the next item that I want to provide a quick update to you on is the Cal State University Sacramento Education and Cable Consortium, which I'll just call as SCCC matter. If you recall, and some of you weren't on the board, but at the June meeting last year, we reported that there was an issue related to BestNet, which is the commission-supported iNet for School that has been implemented throughout Sacramento, and it has been certainly working together with the commission funding, as well as Comcast and SCCC. If you recall, at the June meeting, we learned that there was kind of an issue between Sac State and SCCC that basically not only did CSUS say that they didn't want to put their classes on the PEG channels anymore, but they also said that they wanted to pull out of BestNet, and there was the specter of them not supporting BestNet. And I think we told you at that time that Cal State University was actually one of the hubs of BestNet. So if in effect, if Sac State turned that off, it could actually put a lot of the Sac City portion of BestNet, a lot of schools that are served by the BestNet iNet in the city of Sacramento at risk of not being able to get their content. So that was reported to you. I think we said that we could certainly help, share meetings or whatever if that would help. So now I just want to update you on what's happened since. Since then, CSUS and SCCC have exchanged letters. In the letters, they basically CSUS threatened to cut off BestNet by March 2nd if SECC did not pay a certain amount of money. I think it was around $10,000 or so. SECC asked for an extension. CSUS did not respond to that. I actually personally called Larry Gilbert myself last week just before the deadline, and then left a voice message with him, but I also sent him an email basically just asking if they can provide a little bit more time. At the end of March 2nd, the positions hadn't changed. Larry Gilbert actually did send me back an email. It was a nice email, but it basically reiterated the same position, and he didn't say anything about it granting any type of extension. So SCCC had been working on end arounds so that if Sac State actually did turn off the hub at Sac State, that it would not compromise the BestNet service to the portion of the city of Sacramento that would be affected. It's my understanding that SCCC was able to get that end around to work, so there is no danger to, you know, the bulk of the population of Sacramento, that any schools that are at risk of losing their best net connection. Going forward, I'm going to suggest that SCCC and CSUS get together so that they can resolve their issues, and I would be happy to help out any way that I can. And I know that at the last meeting, board members also offered that, you know, they could help out as well, and I believe we can still extend that offer. So with that, that's what I just wanted to update you on that item.
Okay.
Okay. I'll give you a quick update. As you know, there's a lot of PEG public education government channel facility fee projects that get approved every year, so I just want to give you a quick update on what's going on at some of the member jurisdictions and Metro Cable. Metro Cable replaced the video server and now has an HD captioning encoder that was in the budget, and those have been installed. The Metro Cable van has been updated so that actually now both the van and the Metro Cable control room have a new character generator and digital recorders. At the County of Sacramento, there was a press hearing room, the hearing room that's right outside the chamber doors. There was a project basically to have that work as a press room, but also as an extension of these chambers. That project has been partially installed and is projected to be finished by June. Citrus Heights, as you may know, Citrus Heights City Council meetings will be moving to a temporary location at the community center starting on May 14th. Metro Cable staff has worked with Citrus Heights and has created a temporary mobile control room, and so when they have their last meeting at their current chambers, a lot of the equipment is going to be put into this temporary mobile control room, and then by the time that they have their first meeting in their new temporary locations, they'll be able to use that mobile control room to air their meetings without any disturbance. Elk Grove has completed a large chambers project and an audio-video control room upgrade, and it was completed in January. Folsom hasn't completed any projects yet, but they do have a projector screen and control room project upgrade that's still in the budget, and that our staff will certainly coordinate with Folsom on that. And Galt plans to improve their air conditioning in their control room, and they have begun the purchase of new cameras, digital recorders, HD caption encoders, and some other equipment. Rancho in Cordova has installed some of their new projectors and audio components in their chambers, and they're currently getting quotes for other control room upgrades. And as you know, Sacramento City has no current projects, but they are planning a chambers upgrade project for next year. So with that, that's my quick update on PEG projects going on at the member agencies. So with that, I also want to talk about, so this is, as you all know, at the June budget meeting, we also get many requests for PEG projects, so the utilization of the 1% PEG fees. March is the time that we send out letters to the channel licensees who operate the other PEG channels, and also to the member agencies, and also to Metro Cable itself to basically get their requests into us. So we'll be very shortly sending out those letters, and we expect, as we do every year, that we'll get lots of requests. We'll sort through those requests and bring them to your board at the June budget meeting. And then I just want to point out that the next board meeting will be June 4th, 2015. We do schedule meetings on a monthly basis. I don't see a need to have an April or May meeting. We could leave them on the books, but you know, so if something comes up, we can quickly have a meeting, but we'll coordinate with the chair, and as with our past practice, we'll cancel those meetings as those meetings come up. But I don't expect a meeting till June. And that is the end of my staff status.
Great. Next item, please.
Item number 7 is to receive verbal reports from state franchisee representatives.
And I have no request to speak.
Then we move on to item number 8, which is to receive verbal reports from channel licensee representatives.
And first up, I have Ron Herman.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Board. My name is Ron Herman. I'm the program coordinator for Sacramento Faith TV. And I wanted to come in today and give just a slight report for you guys. We usually don't give a report at these meetings, at least for the last few years, but it's kind of because we've been kind of just going along under the radar. And 2 years ago, the Interfaith Council, which runs the Interfaith Council, that runs Sacramento Faith TV, teamed up with Mariah Media. Brian Bazemore, to my right here, is the manager of the station now. And over the last 2 years, we've had some great things happen. I wanted to give you a quick update. In the time that they've taken over in the last 2 years, in 2013, we ended up ending our fiscal year about $3,100 in the red. That kind of got to be a regular thing for us, and we kind of got used to seeing red. We ended our fiscal year in 2014 for the first time $35,000 in the black. So it's good for us to move forward. In the last year, 2 years, we've added 26 new programmers to our station, interfaith programming from the different ministries around Sacramento. And we're glad that the PEG station included us in AT&T on channel 14. That's been a big plus for us, and we also have monitoring on that station as well. Right now, this next fiscal year, starting today, actually the 1st of March, we started a campaign in Sacramento to let people know who we are, an aggressive marketing campaign. You'll see our billboard on the Comcast, or excuse me, on the Clear Channel billboards on Highway 50 and Highway 80, promoting our station, as well as the bus shelters around Sacramento, and a big presence also on the internet at sacramentofaithtv.org. Kind of give you an idea what we have. I don't have a projection piece, but we're on the big billboards up there, so we're getting our name out, and faith is back in Sacramento. Thank you for the report, for letting us have the report for you.
Thank you. And let's see, next I have Gary Martin.
Good afternoon, everyone. Gary Martin, the Executive Director at Access Sacramento. A couple of points to talk about. First, our thank you to you as we continue to spend your money wisely. That includes the launch of KUBU LP FM 96.5. As promised, you gave us some money, and we have launched a low-power FM radio station from downtown Sacramento. We are prepared at this point to make the offer and complete our offer to broadcast Sacramento City Council meetings, County Board of Supervisor meetings, and this group. We've been in contact with staff who, through Karen, indicated that there's no reason that we can't proceed with rebroadcasting Metro 14 with those meetings on Tuesday mornings and Tuesday evenings, and again, this group when it meets. So this would be sort of the notification that we're kind of ready to do that. We would like to maybe do a sample announced and unannounced on March 24th and March 31st, the next couple of Tuesdays at the end of March. So this would be the request that supervisors and city council people be prepared that we're going to have those meetings on 96.5 FM with your approval today. And then we would officially do an announcement, news release kind of thing, saying that starting in April, the first meeting's on April 7th, that this would be our regular process on Tuesdays to broadcast those meetings. That was the discussion that we had when we were approved for budget and launch of KUBU, the only station where you can be you on the radio, community producers. If you haven't tuned in yet, when you go out to your car today, for about 5 miles from where we're standing in any one direction, 96.5 FM is community radio. We, of course, at Access Sacramento have done radio and cablecast broadcasting under Channel 17 and 18 for nearly 25 years. So we have a large group of community producers that create programming for us. So unless there's any one to say no, on March 24th and 31st, we'll broadcast unannounced and we'll test it out. And then on April 7th, we'll proceed. And we'll work with programming folks at Metro 14 to make sure that if there are meetings canceled, there's a communication process in place, and we'll try and set those pieces up through Bob and through Karen.
Okay. Question from Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. Martin, for the presentation. I just want to acknowledge over the past few years, you have done a tremendous job during the transition, moving from Ron Cooper, who obviously was your predecessor for 2 decades, and to witness it firsthand and to hear the success with KUBU is very gratifying. So thank you very much for that.
You're very welcome. It's kind of fun, honestly, to turn on the radio and hear community producers and the good work that's happening out in the community. A couple of other things to share. A 1-minute video. As part of Hometown TV and Game of the Week, you folks provide funding for staffing and equipment. So you've seen high school football and you've seen a variety of community events, the Carmichael July 4th Parade, but we thought we'd downplay it to an even younger audience and show you a minute of the Youth Shrine Bowl. This is 7th, 8th, and 9th grade football in a big event very similar to the Optimist football game. Let's take a look at a minute of what we do in the community even younger than high school. Here's our video.
As the North All-Stars battle the South All-Stars in the 2014 Bell Brothers Youth Shrine Bowl. Today on Access Sacramento's Hometown Sports Game of the Week. Welcome to Hughes Stadium on the campus of Sacramento City College, where today we have all-star action for you.
He turns the corner. Laquana Scott is after him and can't get him. He's finally shoved out of bounds.
He's in motion, gets the inside handoff, and goes to the corner, dives, hits the flag.
Turn and give to Murray to the left side. Touchdown North.
Wow, here's Orvego flushing the pocket, rolling hard right under heavy pressure, and look at him. Get away and throw down the field, a deflected ball.
You finish the game tonight, take a couple days off, and then you start on next year.
We absolutely don't. We start about 8 o'clock tonight. We'll start doing the roster for tomorrow. We've got to get the kids ready to go to Florida next week. They've got to be selected. Coach Volok has to have his roster so he can start with his staff, a new staff, coaching the top 40 kids from this game to go to Florida December the 6th.
Got triple wide receivers to the top and a single down here on the near side. Laurier, a big rush. He steps up, gets decked, and fumbles the football.
Well,
and the North has it.
So a big part of what we do is bring the community into television and public access, and this wouldn't be possible without the funding that you provide to Hometown Sports and Game of the Week. In your packet or provided to you today is the current list of 2014-15 events. You ask us to do a minimum of 50 events, and as we stand here with about 4 months to go, we have achieved the 50 events that we're going to do. We will do many more between now and the end of the term, because we broker and steward your money in many ways as we can to make it go as far as possible. So you'll see all sorts of sports, election, political coverage, all a part of what we do in Hometown TV and Game of the Week. Also a part of the money that you've granted us this year is some dollars to prepare a plan called an integration plan for possibly upgrading the truck that just presented this game to you. We are standard definition in our truck and driving a 2001 converted RV with equipment that's in there. We've really kind of tapped out what we can do with that equipment. We are, there's standard definition equipment isn't even available anymore. So last year we talked with staff and agreed to do a proposal with some money to plan for an HD truck. And so I've given you a picture of a similar type of truck that would be potential for replacing what we do now. This would be a planned device as opposed to a conversion of other types of stuff that we have done for more than 20 years of just getting by. And with high-definition video and a very small engineering staff, a total of 10 hours a week is how we engineer our entire program. The hope would be if we move up to an HD truck that we'll move forward with staff to develop perhaps a plan of doing this either in a 1-year or a 3-year purchase, and it's all a part of the discussion. But we know that there are systems out there that would do a good job for us. We were disappointed 2 years ago when we had broadcast the City of Sacramento's State of the City meeting using our truck 3 years ago, and then the city decided not to proceed with us last year or this year because we just don't have a truck that's viable. It's standard definition, it doesn't have the lensing. The hope is that we'll be able to work with staff to move forward on this project. And the last piece is the postcard that you have. Our big next fundraiser is next month, April 2nd. It's Sacramento Has Talent, our 3rd annual event. All of you are invited to purchase a ticket for $25 and to come to the Crest and help be a part of the fundraising efforts that we do in the community, showcasing 12 dynamic acts, televising and putting it on our channel. And it is exciting television, an exciting event, and hopefully we will see you at the Crest. And for anyone watching on this meeting, be at the Crest on April 2nd, buy a ticket. Enjoy the UC Davis marching band that will be there, some aerial performances, and of course singers and dancers, all sorts of good fun. So thank you very much. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioner Detrick.
Yeah, Gary, I want to personally thank you. I think this is the first meeting I've seen you since last September when you brought Hometown TV for the International Water Ski event that was out at Rio Linda that was not only on TV, but was also webcast as well, that was seen around the world. So it was pretty neat for me to be there firsthand, see you and your team out there with your truck. Totally understandable that you guys need to bring up to the 21st century, so to speak.
It is always a challenge to be out live in the community, and being broadcasting live, you pay for the service that allows us to do that. But we also rented a generator and did a variety of things to step up that service. It was a lot of long time, about 6 hours of live broadcasting, and it was a lot of fun. So thank you for your comments.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, everyone.
All right. And last I have Dave Lowe.
Hi, David Lowe, President and General Manager with KVIE, where our unofficial slogan is, we're more than just Downton Abbey. Downton Abbey Season 5 did end on Sunday, and I have good news, there will be a Season 6. Is anyone watching Downton Abbey? All right, so, well, you have plenty of time to binge watch and get up to speed for Season 6, which will likely premiere in January, so no excuses when we come back. Last month, we launched our 4th channel, so we now are broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 4 different channels. It's called the World Channel. It's part of a national service that is the best of our signature nonfiction documentaries, science, and news programming. More information about it can be found at worldchannel.org, and Comcast is looking to be the first cable company to pick that up, and it should be on March 17th. Some of our recent local productions were on Alzheimer's, and then also we just did a visit to Gladding McBean, which is one of only 2 terracotta manufacturers in the nation. It happens to be right here in our region. And we also have upcoming Studio Sacramento's on cancer research and sports entertainment here in the region. Speaking of cancer, Ken Burns has a new documentary that's coming up. It's a multi-part 6-hour series called Cancer, the Emperor of All Maladies. It's based on the book, and it treats the topic cancer as a biography. So it's a different way of looking at it about what cancer is, and it's a very important topic, of course, because cancer is going to affect 1 of 2 men in this room and 1 of 3 women in this room, and if it doesn't affect us, it's going to affect someone we love. So we're looking forward to bringing this very important story to the region. That'll be in the end of March and through a couple days in April. Thanks as always for your time and for your support.
Great. Thank you very much. With that, next item, please.
So, next item is to receive public comments.
And I have no one signed up to speak. So with that, we are adjourned.